In the last video, we kind of talked about what goes into SEO. You can do all the SEO things right, and you can go and search your site like, something that you do. You can see, guess who's not showing up on the first page for that? And I go to the second page. Well, where the heck am I showing up, right? There is a tool called Google Search Console. Google Search Console is a really important tool. There's one for Bing as well, and that's also important because Bing does have a pretty big part of the market share. But what I want to do is I want to go to debraco.com. Keep in mind I haven't been doing SEO on mine, and I'm not actually. You have to know what your version of your site is. So if I go and I type in debraco.com, as a lot of people will, right? It will automatically forward me to www.debraco.com, and it's got the HTTPS. So I want to look at this version of it. There could potentially be 4. It's bringing me some clicks. You're within Search Console. If you don't know how to set this up, we can talk. I've set it up on every single one of my customers' websites. It's very important to me. Once you get in, you should have access. You need to have a Gmail account or a Google Business Apps account to be able to access this. If you don't, it will tell you you are not Gmail. I know a lot of you have heard of Google Analytics, and Google Analytics is great. Google Analytics connects with your Search Console, but Search Console is 100% about your SEO and organic search. It doesn't have any other information in here except that. Once you get in here, you're going to see, like I said, that dashboard, and it's going to say, hey, no crawl detector errors were detected, or hey, there were some, or sitemaps. You don't have a sitemap, and it's true. I haven't submitted a sitemap on this version because I did it for all my customers and I was tired. So once you're in here, if you have a sitemap on your site, if you know what that is, you come down here and you have to go ahead and put a sitemap in, right? And so I know what my sitemap is. It is sitemap index.xml. We test it first. And there are 7 child sitemaps in there, and that is the right one. So one of that. We'll go ahead and add it this time. Let's submit it. We'll refresh the page. What is a sitemap? Well, we can actually take a look at the sitemap. So it tells the pages, the posts, portfolio, slides if you've got them. You can choose to hide some of these or keep them. It's really up to you. If you look at the page sitemap, this is actually a sitemap of pages and what you want Google to index. So it's showing all of these different pages, and it's saying, okay, there's digital marketing, news information. And these are all pieces of content, and Google is now going to know to crawl or scan all of these pages. Something called fetch and render. What is that? Well, once you put a sitemap in, or even if you haven't put a sitemap in, you can tell Google, go and fetch my website. Just right now, go and do that. Right? And you can do this. It's recommended to do this once a month, but really, you should have some activity if you're going to do that, like you've added a page or a post or something. It's going to pen for a while, and you'll notice desktop and mobile. That's because when you do a search on desktop, the results that you get are different than what you're going to see on mobile. They're changing that slowly back so that it's going to be a mobile-first algorithm anyway. They want it to kind of be consistent, but here's the thing. There are a lot of companies out there who just didn't ever make a mobile version of their site. It looks really bad on mobile, and it's not mobile-friendly. They don't give you as much of a penalty on desktop as they do on a smartphone if somebody was searching. You will go to crawl errors while that's going on, and you can move away from that other page while you're doing this. We've got this robots.txt, and this will tell you things that you want. You want Google to look at that. Allow. disallow are all the things that you don't want Google to look at. So like WP admin, I'm on WordPress. I don't want that file, that folder, to be indexed at all by Google. And this user agent star is telling all of them, like, yeah, you can go to everything except what's down here. If you don't have a robots.txt set up or you don't know what it is, it can be important, but usually it's good. If it's set up incorrectly, it can be catastrophic, but it's generally set up correctly to allow the search engines to come the way they are, as long as you're using a plugin like Yoast SEO and you haven't made any changes to it. You'll see we've got search appearance, which is structured data, rich cards, data highlighter. Structured data is, if we look, you'll see things here. In order to make these stars show up, you have to add something called schema.org markup. And you can add structured data actually within Search Console, and it'll tell you how many pages have this structured data, and if there's errors, and there's none, so we're good. Rich cards is more for e-commerce. I don't have any rich cards. You can learn more about that, but if you ever do a search for garlic powder, this is a rich card. It tells you over here, sorry, this is nutrition facts. Like, you can set that up through schema. Data highlighter, you can go through and you can highlight your data. Now, if you look back here, see how there's some bold in there? It's hitting the words that you wanted it to hit. So you could actually tell Google like to highlight some of those for some words. HTML improvements, no content issues. They do check to see issues such as duplicate title tags, problematic title tags. It won't prevent your your site from showing up in Google, but paying attention to it can help you drive more traffic to your site. Accelerated mobile pages that don't have an AMP page. AMP just means it loads really fast on mobile, but it takes all of the styling out of it. There's a benefit and minus to that. As long as your page is loading, under 3 or 4 seconds, you should be good. If you're loading over 6 or 7 seconds, that's a problem. There's a good place to check your load time. Tools.pingdom.com. We're going to go ahead and check it from San Jose. It's closer than Stockholm, Sweden, and it'll tell us our load time. Our page size, and what our performance grade is. Again, I don't do as much on mine. If we look up Trust Restore Pro, this is another one of mine. Under 2 seconds. They don't need an AMP page because it loads in under 2 seconds. Search analytics. This is the most important thing, I believe, for you when you're doing, your tracking of your SEO. You want to make sure clicks, impressions, and position is clicked on. Click-through rate tells you how many people click through out of the number of impressions. It's not important for right now. It does become important later. You can sort these by clicks, by impressions, and by position. Now, I want you to notice 24 clicks, but if you count these clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the rest are zeros, that's not 24, Google. Well, if you look at the pages that people have clicked through to, 16, 5, 2, and 1, that is 24. Google doesn't tell you all of the search queries that people do. That's some people have opted out. Some people want to keep it private, and Google doesn't want to give away all of its secrets. But what I like to do is take a look by impressions. When you look at these impressions, you see web design Raleigh. Impressions, 335, no clicks, 82.3. 1 through 10 generally means first page. After 10, 11 through 20 is second page. 82.3 means I'm on the 9th page, 2.3. So that search term was web design Raleigh. We go to page 9. Right around where it said I should be. It's not a good place to be. If you watch the last thing, you know nobody ever gets to that page. You can rank by position, and you can see where you are. So social media management Raleigh. So these are the ones, you know, that you're doing decent on. You notice everything that I put there is all about social media. And then you'll see these weird things like digital marketing services Raleigh. Just one impression, just one person has looked for that. I don't think that's the case. Digital agency Raleigh, 62. And again, this is over 28 days, right? Don't really pay attention to the average position up here. It doesn't matter, but the number of impressions does. You want that number of impressions to be really high. You want your clicks to be really high. The average position should be going up, but you know, these little one-offs, they can really start to impact that average position. As we go to look at the last position, like search engine optimization agency, I have 8 impressions that I was on like the 601st page or something like that. So that skews this data a lot. Even though it's just 8 out of the 5,000 impressions, there's a lot that are way down there, and some of those aren't things that I want to show up on. So if you have some things that you're showing up on, ad agency Raleigh NC, like I'm not an ad agency, but Raleigh Web Design Company, I am that, and this has a lot of searches. Web Design Raleigh also has a lot of searches. Web Design Raleigh NC has a lot of searches. Raleigh Web Design has a lot of searches. All of these are not good. That's okay. I haven't worked on this site in forever, and it's awful. My biggest tags is premium website design services for small businesses. When we look over here at Search Console, did you notice that web design versus website design? I mean, with that, it's probably better. I think I have website design, and if you look, you'll also see things that say one person searched with website as 2 words. So, you know, what can I do to make this better? I've got it up in my URL, got website design, you know, all over here. The only mentions of Raleigh are on these pages here. There's no mention of Raleigh on this page. Why did I do that? When I was starting my company and I was writing this website, I didn't just want to be targeted to Raleigh, and I didn't want to build out service areas pages for myself. So while I'm showing up for Raleigh, you know, if I put Raleigh in there more, it would be better and better and better. You'll see PPC companies. So I do PPC, which is pay-per-click, but I think they're looking for the company actually PPC with that search, so that doesn't really count either. And occasionally you'll see something that you're ranking really high on for no reason whatsoever, like social, not that one, digital marketing services Raleigh. The reason that I'm showing up there is on the maps, maybe proximity is a big one for that. And the maps actually do count as an organic listing if it shows up, right? So the position winds up being here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But over here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on organic. So it's important to take a look at what's bringing in your clicks, and you can see these are the things. Website design agency or web design agency Raleigh brought me 1 click even though I'm on the 2nd page. How did that happen? That position is an average, so maybe somebody went to the 2nd page, or maybe the day I got that click I was 2 impressions, 15.5, and maybe even if we look through the different pages, I mean, I don't know what to say. It could have been like maybe I showed up in the map listing as number 1, and then on another page I was number 30 or something, right? So it takes the average of those two. Overall, you want that average position to be 10 or below. If you want to get clicks, and you'll see, like, again, like over here, social media marketing agencies brought me 1 impression and 1 click, and my average position was 432. No idea why that happened, but most of my clicks came from people looking up DeBracco. Digital marketing, Raleigh NC, brought me, again, 1 click out of 46 impressions. But the main thing when you have these bad numbers is these are the search terms that people are actually doing. It's straight from Google. It's not from somebody else. It's not somebody sugarcoating the results that they've gotten for you. And it tells you the things that you should be targeting. So a good example of this is web design versus website design. And it looks like more people look for web design than website design. So it might tell me to go to my website and change it from website design to web design and have some mentions of website design, but really should be focusing more on web design as a word than website. We can see that digital marketing has fewer searches than website design, and search engine optimization gets some searches, and so maybe I should start talking more about my SEO services on there, right? But not as SEO, because if we look, 152, but when I filter the queries for, well, it's 65, but this one search term gets a lot more, so maybe you have to have SEO Raleigh and search engine optimization Raleigh throughout the keywords in your site. But that's not all. You see, when we do you see how in their snippet they have search engine optimization, the Raleigh SEO company. SEO, search engine optimization, like it's within those snippets, right? You'll see down here, so you can target those snippets, you can change those snippets. Also, look at the title, right? Raleigh SEO company, search engine optimization experts. Search engine optimization, Raleigh, V-Design. SEO agency, internet marketing, Raleigh. Search engine optimization, Raleigh, NC, Lizard Webs. The Click Depot, Raleigh SEO company. And then, so those mentions are all over there. And if we go over to like this page here, when we hover over that, you'll see Raleigh SEO Agency, Search Engine Optimization. So they've got that title. If we take a look at this image, it says Children's Campus. But these icons are images as well. You have the ability to make these icons have an alt tag, which can't be read, but by a screen reader, it would tell what that image is about as a title tag or an alt tag, right? And it helps give more indications to Google what that picture is, because Google doesn't know what a picture is. So this is how to track your SEO and how you're doing. If you don't have Google Search Console, get it, put it on your site, track it. And what you can do for 3 months, every 3 months, it tracks for up to 90 days, right? So you can track to see how you're doing, right? There's one with a note here, and you can see there was a ranking drop. But if you read that note, all traffic in analytics was erroneously labeled as desktop, so they had to correct it, and they did. And they said something about August 5th, so it was corrected after August 5th, and so because all this is desktop. So over here you can filter for desktop, filter for mobile, where you're getting your clicks over those 90 days, and you can see my desktop has sort of dropped off a little bit. Our mobile is actually increasing a little bit. So this information is very, very good information. It tells you what you should be targeting and what you should have in your content. And if you're with a good company, they're going to be doing that. But the one thing to keep in mind is that there's no mentions of something on your whole website. You might not show up in those searches and not know that that's where you want to be showing up. So it's important to do other searches that you're not showing up for. Do searches for those. So like we have website design. You might want to look up something that's like website design, like website development in Raleigh. WordPress development is there. Website development. So these are being searched, and I'm actually maybe a little bit higher up because this is a little bit more competitive. Or some places I'm lower down, like web design and development Raleigh. Like it's both. There might be some that don't even show up on this list because I don't rank on them, or I'm too far down at all to make it matter. So in those cases, you want to think outside the box a little bit. For one of my water damage companies, they do a service like crawl space drying or something, and we didn't mention crawl space on their site, so they weren't there. Start talking about crawl space, and suddenly you start bumping up. I mean, you also notice that if I do a search for Cary, I showed up once in 90 days. I don't have anything about Cary, North Carolina on my site, but I guarantee you people are searching for that. Like if I do web design Cary, you'll see all these people that are there. So maybe I want to have Cary on some of my pages, right? Or pages dedicated to Cary even. There's a lot of different strategies, but keep in mind that the more pages on your website that are unique and good, the more doors into your website, the more ways you can be found. So content will always be king. There are ways other than just doing your content to bump these up, but make sure that you're where you want to be within your Search Console first. Learn Search Console, understand Search Console, and know that even though Search Console counts this map as your organic listing, it doesn't tell you anything at all about that map. That's for the next part 4 in this series. What is Google My Business, and sort of how does it work? I want to thank you for watching. That's all I got for you today.